Hey guys.
Hi there.
So this video is a recap of Utah. Utah is an incredible state. It is like beauty around every corner.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Just the landscape was constantly changing, and there was just a lot to learn about history and dinosaurs and all kinds of cool stuff. So we loved it.
While we were there, we did the top 5.
Yep.
So we did the Zion, Bryce, Capitol Reef, Canyonlands, and Arches, which we'll go through. But then on top of that, we did 4 state parks.
Yeah.
So we also
really
did Kodachrome, Goblin Valley, Dead Horse, and then we finished it off with Antelope Island.
Yeah.
So
up near Salt Lake.
That's up by Salt Lake.
In the middle of the day, you turn to me and say, come on, let's get away. Skip this town for a day. Get behind the wheel and drive. We don't care about the time with you by my side. I don't need to hide, I feel alive. You bring me coffee in the morning.
So we started in mid-April, right?
Right. Yep.
At Zion, down in the southwest corner. What was your thoughts of Zion?
Oh, I really like Zion a lot, and after the fact, I was really thankful that we were there in April and that we kind of missed kind of the summer crowd, because it was already crowded when we got there in mid-April, I thought. But it was, we did the Narrows hike, which was my personal favorite. I loved it. We had a great time, and
we did Angel's Landing.
And well, yeah, we did Angel's Landing. We have a video on it. Shane went all the way to the top. I made it up about a third of the way of the chained area, but it was really pretty views. Everywhere, you want to make sure you have lots of water. Even though we were there in April, it was still hot.
Yeah, and I would say the secret to Zion is, if you have electric bikes, take the electric bikes.
Yeah.
Because the park is really small, but there's a lot of it you can't drive. Only you have to get on a bus to go, or you can take your electric bikes.
Right.
We have the electric XPs, and that's how we did it. We parked right at the gate and then just rode our bikes through the park. We up to Angel's Landing and up to the Narrows.
Yeah, and a lot of it is like uphill on the way to some of the hikes, so it really helped to have a little extra power. So by the time you got to your hike, you weren't like exhausted from like a regular bike. Now I did hear that during the summertime they limited some of the amount of electric bikes, so I don't know what that was about, but it was fine when we were there.
Yeah, and we went right before they did all the stuff about limiting gate times and reservations and all that. So we were ahead of that schedule on that.
Yeah.
So also we entered from the west side, so that's not the tunnel. If you come in from the east side, or if you leave through the east side, you have to go through the tunnel, and that one you have to make a little reservation to drive your RV through, because they have to close the tunnel down to let you drive through the center of the tunnel. It's like $15. I kind of wanted to do it just so that I'd make everybody have to shut down.
I know, but we drove with the Jeep instead, just to check it out and see what it was like.
And by the way, at all these parks that we're talking about, we boondocked the entire time we were in Utah.
Yeah.
So
it's easy to find places.
Yeah, it's great, and we will put the coordinates for each place that we boondocked at all the parks in the description below. So those will be there in case you guys are wanting to find a place and to be able to boondock. So after that, we went to Bryce.
Yes.
Bryce is incredible. Again, tons of bike pass. We actually were fortunate. We met up with some friends of ours, Scott and Francie. They met us on the way up to Bryce, and we followed each other up there, and we boondocked together. It snowed on us the first night, but Bryce,
it was great. It was a little cold on the hike because we got there and it snowed that night, and so we woke up to snow, which was really pretty, and so we just bundled up and went on the hikes down in the different canyon areas, and it was really pretty. So we liked Bryce. We didn't stay there quite as long as I would have liked. We kind of had plans to keep going, so I would like to go back there. How about you?
Yeah. I mean,
well, just to ride our bikes and to do, there was a fairy tale or fairyland or something like that hike that was about 6 miles that I would have liked to have done that hike. It looked really beautiful, but because the weather wasn't the greatest and we had already planned to move on, we didn't do that one. But we did some of the main one. I don't remember what it was called.
Yeah, just through the middle of it. To me, Bryce is, you have to at least see it once because it's so spectacular. We've all
really
seen the
different,
pictures of it, and it's totally different than a normal park looks like. I thought it was, absolutely amazing and beautiful. Like I said, you got to at least see it once.
Yeah.
After that, I don't know if you have to go back. That's just me, it's good. Now, while we were there, though, we did take a day and we went to Kodachrome.
Yeah,
which was a
neat.
state park.
Right. And that one was really neat. So, like, Bryce has so many of the hoodoos and everything that really make it unique compared to a lot of the other things that we saw in Utah. But when we went to Kodachrome, it was kind of smaller hikes. It's a really small little state park, but it had this hike where you could hike up and then overlook this canyon, and it was really pretty. We both enjoyed that. It was, by the time we drove there and didn't get a super quick start, it was pretty hot, I would say. So we were happy for the water. We were allowed to bring Jack with us, which was fun. So he hiked with us, and I think we did a video on that one too. So if you want to know more about Kodachrome.
The dogs can go in all the state parks and stay on a leash on the hikes and stuff with you. In the national parks, they can go, but they have to be in the car. They can't get out and go on any of the hikes with you.
Right.
So
we
Jack
did a lot of doggy daycare.
Doggy daycare. Jack loves going to doggy daycares. Yeah. So after Kodachrome, we went to Capitol Reef. Now, to get to Capitol Reef, you go Highway 12, which is a whole park in itself to drive Highway 12. I called it the Angel Landing of motorhomes. It's an incredible drive. When you get to the other side, there's stores that sell you I survived Highway 12.
Yeah, I should have bought one. I was terrified the whole way, but
it was awesome.
It was pretty, but it was scary. But anyway, so
we got to Capitol Reef,
and that one is more of a quiet national park, I would say. I think for me the most interesting thing about it was learning about the different colors. So there's like layers of rocks that you see, like all different colors, and it talks about like just the time that it took to create all of that, and how part of it was underwater and then it was a desert, and it was very interesting to learn about all of those things. I thought. But it's a pretty quick it's
a fast one.
Drive through. I mean, there were definitely hikes and things like that we did not
but like the main road just goes right through the middle of it. The highway that you're going to come and leave on, you just drive right through the middle of the park.
So that one was kind of I'm glad that we went, and it was really pretty. It was one that I thought that you could probably do easily in a day, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I did.
Unless
that was my least favorite of all of them.
Yeah.
Goblin Valley, though, was the next one. That one was a state park, and that's really cool. That's a fun one to go to. It's a neat little thing to see. You actually walk around through all the hoodoos. You get to, touch them and walk through them and all that. And then there's a cool cave you can go find that's Goblin
that was
Lair.
like, what, about a 2.5 mile hike?
Yeah.
Again,
through the desert.
I was
on a horse with no name.
Yeah, bring water.
Lots of water.
Yeah.
And by the way, don't do it at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon like we did.
Yeah, hello.
Do it at a different time of the day. But that one,
and there's not a lot of shade on that particular hike.
Yeah, like 0.
Yeah.
So like Goblin Valley
though.
But it's a have to do. You have to go see Goblin Valley when you're. It should be like a national park. It's really awesome to go see it. So from there, you kind of go up and around, and you go down into Moab, and you get to see. We went to Canyonland.
Right.
Now Canyonland, just so you know, Canyonland actually, I know it's one park, but it's like 3 parks. Okay, it actually has 3 different names for it. There's like Needles. I don't even remember the one that we were at, what its name was. I know the one south of us was Needles, but there's 3 sections. And so you can drive and come into different sections.
Yeah, it's enormous.
It's huge, unbelievably big. We went to the kind of the most northeast corner one, which is up by Dead Horse and all that. It's right there by Moab. And that one itself was, I mean, phenomenal. Arches and trails and hikes and, you know, Aztec hike. You gotta watch. We put a video up of that. You gotta watch it.
That was probably our favorite hike.
Yeah, that's
I would say we had a great time doing that. It was a little hard, I would say, you know, just level wise. I would say that it's a little bit harder. You'd want to wear good shoes and make sure that, because you're kind of going up this one like cliff side to get to the top.
Yeah, it's a hand over hand climb.
Yeah.
And the thing is that like I said, when I say it's 3 different parks, it's not like, oh, you can just drive through them. No, you got to go back out, go down the freeway,
right,
80 miles to come into the next one.
I think are like down in the canyon where you can drive through, and then other parts of it are up higher. Is that right?
Yeah. And when you're looking at it, Canyonland's really cool because you stand up on this cliff and you're looking into a canyon, but what you'll notice is it's like all flat down there, and then where you see the river, you realize, no, that's like another 400-foot canyon down there. So it's like a canyon inside of a canyon. It's really cool.
Yeah, and you can drive along. That's where we realized there's a road there also on part of it. Yeah.
And then the next day we went to another state park, which was Dead Horse. It's a real quick park. It's worth it to see it. You know, that's where Thelma and Louise in the movie drove off the cliff there. But it's a real quick, easy park to see. There's not a whole lot to do. I mean, it's not even a full day park, I would say. You know?
Although we met some people who said they really enjoyed riding their electric bikes around it, and so they stayed a bit longer. It's also like easier access for people who maybe are in a wheelchair or maybe don't want to walk that much. I would say that park, you can just pull up and you're right at the overlook. So that's really nice, I think, for people who aren't as into
sidewalk,
hiking,
concrete,
climbing, that sort of thing. That would be a good park to go to.
And you get beautiful views from it.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
And the other thing is, so Arches, Dead Horse, and Canyonland are all right together. So you camp in one spot and you're going to go to all these. Now, that takes us to Arches.
Yeah, Arches.
Arches. we have videos of all these, but Arches was the only park that we ran into where it closed all the time. If you get there after 9 o'clock in the morning, the park's closed. Yeah. And then it doesn't open up till about 2. And it's not like one in, one out. It's like flat out doesn't go. So my suggestion would be to go to Arches. And then if you can't get in, then you can go to Canyonland or Dead Horse to see that through the day. And then just plan on going to Arches at like 5 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the evening. Right. Arches is a beautiful park to see lots of different hikes. But it's a small park. It's a really busy park. And
also we were like there. I would have to say that, you know, we told you that we started our Utah adventure mid-April. So by the time we made it all the way to Arches, it was like mid to late May, and I think it was starting to get busier and busier. So, you know, maybe it's also a little bit better to go like in the fall, or, you know, if you can, you know, if you're not on some kind of schedule to do fall, or maybe earlier in the spring or something, because I think that was part of the reason why there was like that closure of but we hadn't experienced that at any of the other parks. So that was thankfully there were all these other ones to see. So we were able to just work around it, and we actually didn't go to Arches until the very last part of our trip.
And I'll tell you, when you get to Moab, you could spend a month in Moab just going on hikes with no parks whatsoever and see so much stuff. without ever even going into the park. So if you get there and they're closed one day, I mean, we were boondocking out by these dinosaur, we didn't even know they were. We were hiking through the desert, and all of a sudden we ran into all these dinosaur bones and dinosaur prints that were in there. There's the Gemini
bridges,
arches,
Gemini bridges,
or Gemini bridges,
yeah.
were these two big arches that you can walk across. They're awesome, and they're just, I mean, just on and on with this kind of stuff. So
yeah.
that area is phenomenal. You could spend a month there. We did spend a month there, and it was, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, lots to see. And we'll put down the coordinates of where we stayed, because the location that we stayed near Arches was a really good one. We were north of town, which was pretty awesome because
all the parks are north of town.
Yeah, they're all north of town, and also going through town there was a lot of construction, and so it was pretty time consuming to just go to the grocery or whatever. One tip that we found in Utah is that almost all the Maverick stations had free water and free sewer dumps. So that was pretty great. Since we were boondocking the whole time, we were able to get the water, get dumped. We would buy a few supplies there and get gas or whatever, but it was a good one.
And the other thing we learned about Utah, with the exception of Salt Lake City, the entire rest of the state, there's no grocery stores, guys.
Oh, yeah.
We actually took one day, I drove 90 miles one way to a Walmart just to get groceries, because
once we left Zion is fine, and there's even a Costco not far from Zion, and Walmart and all those other regular grocery stores. But it was really when we were at like the
Bryce,
starting with Bryce,
Kodachrome,
and then if you're going all through that whole like Canyonlands and everything, Moab had a little bit more of like a
couple grocery stores.
Yeah, they weren't
Price
gigantic
markets or whatever.
City Market.
Market.
But anyway, but in between, make sure you're stocked up, because otherwise you're going to be driving or, buying things at a really tiny place that has like marginal choices.
You're going to get like a milk. You want a milk, you're going to get one of those little like quart-sized milks or something. That's all you're going to get, because it's like smaller than 7-Eleven. And then the last one we went to was a state park. We actually kind of did it as a little side thing. We went to Antelope Island, which is out in it's out in Salt Lake. So you go out on this island, and it's full of buffalo and antelope, and there's an old ranch from the 1800s that where they started it, and it's an interesting little stop. I wouldn't make it a destination, but if you happen to be in the Salt Lake area, I think it's worth the drive to get out there.
Yeah, it is. It's a bit of a drive because we were staying pretty like south of the city, right? So, and this is kind of like northwest of the city, and you kind of have to go around. It looks like it's not as far as what it is. So just FYI, when you're trying to go there, make sure you kind of look at the time of how long it takes to get there and get back.
Yeah. So Utah is phenomenal. You have to put it on your list to go to. It's absolutely incredible. Like I said, I mean, you could spend a year there just doing stuff, and you would never get to see it all. It's every corner there's something different. There's hikes. You don't even need the national parks or the state parks to see some phenomenal landscaping. If you have a hard time walking, or you're not good at doing the hikes, there are places to be able to go and just drive and see stuff. So anyway, that's kind of our breakdown of Utah and our adventure. Kind of just a brief, quick one. I hope the video wasn't too long. But hey, thanks for watching. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot us a comment, and we'll be glad to comment back, and with a specific about a park that you're going to or want to know more about. And I will try to put the coordinates to the different spots that we boondocked in. So just in case you're curious of where that is, don't know how to find it, you can look up that coordinates and go right to. I'll give you right to the camp spot we were at. Yeah. So hey, you guys have a great one out there. I hope to see you someday. If you see us out there, please stop by and say hi. Yeah, we're always looking to meet new people and make new friends. Yes. Safe travels. Safe travel, guys. Bye. When we go to bed at night, we won't turn